Hey folks, I'm Gail Wolf, and this video is about the golden ratio and the frequency cutting board. So, as you've seen advertised or written up on the website, that the frequency cutting boards incorporate the golden ratio within them. Now, I've had a lot of people ask me, what is the golden ratio? How does it work? What's the significance of it? Why would you do something like that? All kinds of things. So this video is to explain a little bit about why I put the golden ratio into these cutting boards. So let's break it down. The golden ratio is a mathematical formula that's seen throughout nature. And the formula goes like this. It starts at 0, and then it goes to 1. Then you have another 1. Then it goes to 3. Then it goes to 5, 8, 13, 21, 34, 55, and so forth. So if you're following the pattern of what these numbers have in common, is that each one is 1.618 larger than the number before. To make that super simple, if you start off with if you start off with 0, and then you have a 1, you add those two together, you get 1. Then you take the 1 you just got and the 1 before it, you add those together and you get 2. Then you take the 1 and the 2, you put those together and you get 3. Then you take the 2 and the 3, you put that together and you get 5. You take the 3 and the 5, you put that together and you get 8. You take the 5 and the 8, you put that together, you get 13. You take the 8 and the 13, you put that together and you get 21. So you always take the result and you add it to the number right before it in the sequence. When you look at the ratio or the speed of growth or the greater value of each number, it comes out to be 1.618. So if you look at, say, a sunflower, and you look at the seeds in a sunflower, and they're all kind of arranged in this pattern where they just kind of seem to spiral out. Well, they're not in a perfect they're not in a perfect circle, another perfect circle, or another perfect circle. They kind of swirl out. Each one is up and over just a little bit from the one before, and it goes up and over for the next one, and up and over for the next one. That up and over is at a ratio from the center at 1.618 greater, which with each increasing row. So that is where it fits into nature. The same thing holds true in our DNA. The same thing holds true if you start looking at our bodies. Lots of people have it on, if you look at the fingers, you have the fingers have it into it. The hand, the size of the forearm, the hand and the forearm, and then the size of the upper arm. These things all play out. Now, granted, not everybody has the perfect, 1.618 where we're configured in lots of different ways, but it comes together very closely within the human body. And when you look at nature, it is the average of the way things are created. So, how does that apply here? Well, before I go into that, one thing I want to explain is a little bit of numerology. And it goes like this. These boards measure 11 inches by 11 inches. If you start looking at numerology and the significance of numbers in a number of different, and by the way, there are many different methods of numerology. There are many different belief systems around numerology. And what I'm going to talk about today is the most basic one that applies, that most people understand. We'll just keep it simple and say that. Is that when you look at an 11 or any multiple of 11, it is considered to be a master number. Now, 11 signifies light. And you have 11 by 11, it's light in light or enlightenment. And so essentially, when you have 11 and 11, it's considered to be a very good auspicious sign. So the next piece around the numerology that's incorporated into these boards is that the number 0 signifies God or source, universal intelligence, all that there is, whatever you want, whatever that is to you. But it is essentially goes back to our Creator. And so when you have a 0 in a sequence of numbers and you keep referring back to that 0, which you do as you start going out through this, is you go back to source each time you go back out. And what that does is it reconnects whatever you're creating, whatever you're doing, back to source, and it references it back into what you're doing. And so that is mathematically sustained through using the golden ratio. And if you look at this board, the way I built it, right here, you've got a piece of maple here, and you've got a piece of maple here, and you can see there's a joint, or there's a seam right here. Why would I do that? Why wouldn't I just have one solid piece of maple in the middle? That's because this split signifies the 0 point. It's the 0 point, or it's the source point, where when you resource back to God, or you resource back to source or universal intelligence, you go back to your creative inspiration. You go into creation. And when you get into the golden ratio, we've got 11/16 here, 11/16 here. So we've got the 11/11. This piece of walnut and this piece of walnut are also 11/16 and 11/16. So you've got 11/11, 11/11. So these two put together obviously come to 22/16. Well, guess what? This piece right here is 22/16. Golden ratio, so on and so forth. So that is why these boards are built the way they're built, is they incorporate the golden ratio, which has within it the ratio that's found in nature and the way that things are most symmetrical to the human eye. One more facet about these boards is that to take these two and put them together, you've got 33/16. And by the way, there are 176 sixteenths within 11 inches, okay? So when you take 11/11, 11/11, 22 and 22, and then 44 and 44, add them together, you get 176 sixteenths. Now, you remember what I said about numerology and the master numbers. Every single number in this entire board in the measurements is a master number. But if you're thinking and you're paying attention here, you'll realize that this last board, or this last piece, should actually be 33/16 and not 44/16. Here's where I think it's pretty cool, is that if I would have maintained the perfect golden ratio on these outside pieces of walnut, it would have only been 33/16, and this board would not have been 11 inches by 11 inches. But what I thought was really cool is that the remaining numbers on the outside is, again, 11/16 by 11/16, too long on each side. So again, we have the 11/11, which is why this is the 11/11 board. So there you have it, folks. That is the golden ratio explained as to how it is applied to the frequency cutting board. Thanks for watching. I hope this helped to explain a little bit about the golden ratio, the way I've incorporated it into these cutting boards. Thanks for watching, and thrive on.